listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn. Chemtrails, child, animal, and planetary.
See, that's the old paradigm. I love it. Anyway, welcome to Outside the Box. Or we're going to probably rename this, Welcome to Can I Get Your Goat Show? And if I can get your goat, I own your god. And might as well let it be known that the Phoenician code is cracked. Cool, huh? You have no idea yet, but you will. I wrote a little something earlier, and I had talked a little bit about it. I had revamped it a little bit and added to it as well. So, and don't forget, this is the M&M show tonight. I will let Mike and Mark take the helm. I just wanted to get this out first, so I'm going to get Mark's mic opened and Mike's Mark opened. Might as well do it both ways, right? Anyway, the Phoenician code is cracked, and to a level I can't even begin to describe. It is so absolutely magical. No words, because there's none needed. And when you understand this, when you finally understand this, you will have your intent, your true in the creational void of the goddess Io, the ancient of most ancient, with love. That's what intent is. And you will never get there if you are polarized. That is a promise. You will not get there if you are under the influence of, first, the spells, because it's the words that cast the spells that create the effect. That is the key. If the words do not affect you, when you understand that every word is perfectly balanced in zero with intent, it is how you define or have been made to define the words from a polarized perspective that has your mind owned. That's the mirror of the New World Order. The New World Order is absolutely beautiful, and it's one that I am creating. The already known, the new world, the spiral, WHIRLED, or of God, and that is the golden spirit breath of creation. That is the oar of the boat that you are rowing, because all roads lead to Rome, or the spirit breath of me, Rho magnetic electric. And this works to such a level, if you cannot see the magic in it, if you cannot see it, then you are blinded by your intellect. And that is the problem with intellectual people. The ones that don't have it under control. The ones that, well, it's like this. Look at common law. Well, that's the stuff that, I watched that video yesterday, and it was really interesting to watch how this was a guy getting interviewed for cannabis possession, right? It was interesting listening to the robot that was trying to turn his words around. Cop, no less, female. Quite the program running in her, I tell you. It was really funny to watch. And here's the thing. I could sit on a bench and destroy you in the first word out of your face, or create you in my image. And that's what the courts do. And the longer you play, well, you're going to keep testing yourself until you get it. But look at the word common law. Well, you've already heard me talk about it with my law. That's the note, law, just, to get to T. You can't get to T until you understand the law. And better yet, until you overstand the law. O, creation, ver, truth. stand. And there's that stan again. That's the escape clause, clausula rebus sic stantibus. And that's the love of the Christ consciousness with intent into the divine feminine, ibus. And this is not, it may sound very confusing, it may sound very difficult, but it's not. All you need is a piece of paper, some crayons or a pencil or whatever you think you need to simply sit on your fucking ass for 5 fucking minutes and grab a word and start looking at it with new vampire eyes. Let's go to the mother fire. Va, to go. M, magnetic mother. Pyre, fire. Pyro, into consciousness of the divine feminine. Every letter is a word, and contained with that word are many letters, that every letter in that word contains many letters. It gets fractal very quickly. It goes exponential in the blink and the twinkling of an eye. The yes, the A-Y-E, or the E-Y-E, or the letter I itself. It just depends on what you heard, cattle, or heard, K-T-L, the spirit of love with intent. So you can be part of the cattle herd or the K-T-L herd, as in the one that's being listened to. I chose the latter. Let's have a look at common law again, just to take it even further. Well, pronounce it, com, O, and O-N, with a silent E on it, makes it one. So the calm one law. And you're certainly not going to get there if you're, fighting. F-I-G-H-T-I-N-G versus phi-T-ing, which is P-H-I, sacred geometric creation, T, the note of love into consciousness, ing, the act of, the yin and the yang, which is perfect balance, folding in upon itself and folding out above itself at the same time. I see the creational swirl. It's beautiful. It's a singularity. And you won't get there if you're going to be spellbound. So here, what I'm going to do tonight is I got a list of words. I talked to Mark after the show today, and I put together a list of words. And I'm going to get you to see and hear, more importantly, hear them entirely different. You're going to hear and see things with brand new vampires' eyes. Or not. I don't give a fuck either way. Because my reality is my reality, and there's fuck all anybody can do to change it. Now. Period. Done. Over. Phoenician code is cracked. And the only thing that's going to happen now is I'm just going to keep getting better at it. Because it's like a child learning a language. I don't care whatever language you grew up with. The first sounds you heard were nonsense. It says blah, 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 blah. Think of Charlie Brown and the teacher. Wah, 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 wah. And only when things were identified to you with a certain sound did you start correlating that sound with that shape. Like the French would see a chair as chaise and see a chair. The English will see a chair as a chair. They're both the same thing with two different sounds. So what is really being created here? Well, that's the whole point about things being an allegory here. Because the mere fact that two different words exist for the same object proves that. Two different sounds creating the same thing. So when you put them together, you start to see the magic of how things are back or backwards. Okay? So let me open up the latest little thing. It's already posted on cateofgaia.wordpress.com. And the essay is called Silence of the Lambs. The W is silent, but it's the law. Right? Silence of the Law-mbs. Yeah, that's what it means to be the Lamb of God. The law. Me, magnetic electric. The law of the magnetic electric. It's not something that you want to cut apart and make, fresh spring New Zealand lamb. Yeah, that's yummy. I'm here to destroy every meat-producing company on the planet because they're killing consciousness. More importantly, guys, you want to know what got messed with the genomes? You're doing it to yourself, right? Let's take a few humans and add a couple of, or take away a couple of genetic codes and create cattle, pigs, and what else? And sheep with it. Because they're the closest thing that you're going to find to the human genome. They're the closest in relation. The pig is actually the closest. It even has pink skin. Gross. You can take a pig's heart and put it in a man's chest. They've done it. The guy lived for a couple of weeks before they found a human recipient. They make insulin with it because it genetically is matched to the human. And you eat that shit? Fucking cannibal. Anyway, knock yourself out with your, pork. Po-ra-ka. Yeah, the spirit seed of the spirit breath of your spirit. You really want to consume that? Not me. Anyway, silencing of the lambs. Code is broken. If every letter can be silent in one word, therefore it can and must be silenced in all words, as one sees fit, or phi t, the creation of love, which is the Law-v or law, L-A-H, which becomes the note of love, the KNOW-TE of love. Pronounces the same way. I'm going to explain to you as well in this essay just how, it's not very long, just how important pro, now, and say is. That's how you create. So I'll go through the alphabet really quickly here. I did this already, but I'll do it again, where every letter is silent. A is silent in each, earth, and ear, many others. So I'm just giving, you only need one example to prove your point, okay? B is silent in bomb and lamb. C is silent in where K, S, CH, F, and PH are corresponding letters creating the same sounds or silence. D is silent in bridge. E is silent in bride. F is silent in where G and H are silent. Laughter. G is silent in laughter. H is silent in laughter. I is silent in void or void, V-O-W-E-D. Tricky little things, eh? J is silent in that it mimics G and is an H in Jorge. K is silent in no or no without the K. You might call it now. Or new without the K, which is brand new. L is silent in should or would, W-O-O-D, or W-O-L-D. M is silent in mnemonic, and always silent at the beginning of a word with M-N. As a side note there, I forgot to add, only in the ancient Greek language is M silent. You might know the name of God at this point. Just letting you know. N is silent in dam, or you can pronounce it dame, entirely up to you. O is silent in colonel. P is silent in phone. Q is silent in all aspects of the K sound, or Q, C-U-E. R is silent in lever, to lift in French. S is silent in island, isle, or debris. T is silent in debut, ballet, and, oh, look at that, castle. Funny how that works. U is silent in blood. V is silent in of, O-F. W is silent in D-O-U-B-L-E, Y-O-U, double U, and no. You don't need the W there. It's silent. The O does the work. X is silent in faux pas. Yeah, we've made one or two of those. Y is silent in say. Totally unnecessary. S-A will do the trick with a hard A and a hard S. Say. Z is silent in rendezvous. Inasmuch as every letter can be silenced, therefore, so will the intent be silenced. We have long assumed and presumed the sounds of our words by another's definition, and the habits deeply ingrained in us as children. There are no grammatical notes regarding the pronunciation of any letters where we assume what is written versus knowing what is written, and our intent is owned by someone else's intent. For me, all definitions must be made clear where no assumption or presumption is tolerated. As a measure of how much programming we are involved in, simply lift a piece of paper with writing on it and see if you can hear the words. So what is the paper really saying? Nothing. It is we who give life to someone else's spell by agreeing that sigils can actually talk. Sheer insanity, and easy to see how we can be steered and herd dead where our KTL, cattle, is used against us. And it's our own doing. There are no enemies here. You are the NME, the magnetic electric mind, who creates your reality. It's as simple as holding any document up to your ear and really hear what is being said, and just who gives life to the spells after all. You are, you are spellbound. Just to give you an example, I left a typo in there, and anyone that's reading this say, "Oh, Kate, you put a P in you, Y-O-P-U." So, did you not just hear what I said, that all letters are silenced? Silence the fucking P. You'll get it. Tricky bitch, eh? Yeah, go ahead, let's play. I'll play and show you all the tricks that you are being held by. So carrying on here. You are spellbound to the degree that you accept and only accept the literal definitions created with the intents of another as their spell. Remember, spiritual contracts are made and sealed in the mind first. Then the physical effect is displayed. In this regard, one is also a psychopath to how polarized one is in seeing only good or evil versus the singularity of them both existing at the same time, where only your perspective changes the interpretation. If you accept a word as only a positive or a negative, then you are a psychopath to that degree. So keep that in mind anytime you call someone or anyone a psychopath, because that will be your contrast and the mirror or the mirror. Only the most polarized fill jobs in government offices, uniforms, and the like because they are following and obeying things that harm not only others but themselves. These are the 5-year-old mental retards I refer to walking around the playground with flamethrowers and Uzis going off, and they think that's a good thing. Psychopaths of the lowest order. When you understand that you can change the very intent of a word using sound, you'll begin to see your spellbinding, and thus your freedom from it. Let me share a few words written solely based on sound, and toss the spellings to the wind. What you will hear is far from what is spelled, and the literal gibberish I see any single language as being, versus the God tongue we all can speak, and thus change the intent and the very creation of the world or spiral around you. Literally. Take, for example, what you were hearing now. Does it sound any different than what I was just saying before? You likely haven't heard anything remotely contrasting in the forms of the sound, but I assure you, nothing I have written here, even close to what I'm saying, saying now, is it? Sorry about that. See, I hooked myself on it, but you see how freaking bizarre this is. This is why one must play show and tell with me to fully grasp my intentions. Are you starting to get the picture yet? This is why the letter kills and only the word will set you free. While what I am saying is clear enough, one cannot begin to explain the gravity nor the significance of this power. This is where dreams come true or where nightmares exist. When I write anything now, it is written as per my definitions, where the intent is kept secure and all other spells are destroyed, removing the original sin. This is the master key of creation versus creation. I will share a few key phrases that I look for and then build the sentence backwards. There is no place like home. Since the literal world is created with anagogic allegory, it becomes easier to create your reality with this simple understanding that is intricately complicated. The first thing we all have to do is realize that this is a game of can I get your goat, show, and nothing more. All of the emotional strings connected to you are as the strings on Pinocchio, and what was that quest all about? It is about the journey of a puppet or pupa, depending on how you pronounce it. But once you start resounding a word, you begin to see what a resounding success really is. Remember, this is about listening, not reading, since any words on a page are dead, and only your agreeing to speak them as is creates the life within them as per someone else's definitions. It is time for us to redefine our realities according to making God in our own image, after our own likeness, as was so clearly stated but mirrored by organized religions. Here are a couple of key things I listen for. All these prefixes and suffixes mean mind, as per the ancient mystical ways. Ship, mind, M-I-N-E-D. Hood, meant, M-E-A-N-T. Ent, ents, ants, and every instance they appear in sound, regardless of spelling. It is the sound that creates, not the words, and why one must begin to hear things as only sounds and not words, or you get spun back in where I'm trying to spin you out. Anytime I see or say the spellings, hearings of say, S-A-Y, say, S-E, apostrophe, C-E, apostrophe, I use the Latin form of himself, herself, itself, or simply creation. As already shown, every letter can be silenced where you say or see fit, phi-t. This is the 180-degree turn spell of fight, F-I-G-H-T, into phi-t, sacred creation of love. The letters E and A are used as their corresponding sigils of 6 and 9 in the mirror, the yin and the yang. The word or sound of love is the law of truth. When you know how to pronounce it, where L-O can be sounded as law, as in to lob a holy hand grenade at the crucified rabbi, well, that's rabbi with a silent T, where T can be the note of love or the cross of crucifixion, thus the true double cross. The letters V-E is truth from verily, as shown in the open arms of V into 9 consciousness. The spelling of 9 says it all. N is a letter to show infinite, or nth, and is used as a conjunction, meaning it's mine, so 9 means my I, my creation. T-ion. I'm going to keep this one short because you have a little playing to do for yourself to unlock your own spellbinding, where I can only show you clues as to how to see it. I'll close with pronouns and show you how critically important pronunciation it is. Pro means for in Latin, and an expert at something. Noun becomes now, n, or now mine. And say becomes say, or S-A-Y, which is create ion itself. So that word now means exactly what it intended to mean from source. For my now creation, for now my creation, where the sound of shun is removed, and the God as void io becomes mine, and my intent as I choose it. There is much more, but then the book of life is infinite, and the one I am writing, where I'll leave those only who read from the book of the dead to carry themselves out. Easy peasy. Much love. Kati, the spirit of Law-mbs, the law of truth. Now, I got to tell you, I could go on for hours and hours and hours on one word, because I know how to fractally explode it. You see, a singularity comes from one to go to all. Therefore, if that's the case, then all must also become the singularity coming down to one. And this is the common thread, the COM1 thread, 3D. It just depends on how you pronounce it. If you're caught up in any emotional, polarized position of seeing good or evil, you are, to one degree or another, a fucking psychopath. Psi, spirit, co-duality, path. And to the degree that you find the center, the mean, the ment, the mind, which is average, right in the middle. What is the mean average rainfall? What is the mean temperature? You see, mean is right in the middle. And what it's saying is magnetic electric mind. That means you've balanced your magnetic and your electric out. And when you get to the 0 point, that's where everything you now utter becomes that reality. And it must be done mindfully without the trespass upon others. The very same reason why when people come to this table, I don't bring you here kicking and screaming. As a matter of fact, I've often told people, if you can't handle the truth, then just fuck off. You're not ready for it. For those that are sitting on the edge of their seat waiting to jump on some ego fucking maniac thing, that's yours, not mine. Right? I only have benevolent intent. And no one defines my intent but me. I know my own heart. How I am interpreted is not my fault, that's yours. I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm creating, and it's only from a benevolent heart. The source itself. I have no wish to harm any. That includes me. So why would I create a cause to create an effect, to create a cause of hurt against me? So it's really simple. I mean, that's the only disclaimer I'll use. If you can't handle the truth, fuck off and go back to sleep. Go back to your books of the dead. Go play. That's your game. That's okay. I just want to remind you that if you don't get the game this time, you're going to come back through the same body. That explains your deja vu, and I've explained that in many different ways, but there's another one for you. The deja vu you're going to experience is the fact that you're remembering the last, I don't know how many times you've been through. I've seen, deja vu doesn't happen to me anymore because I'm on a new path. I've recreated my reality. I found the key to move out of that deja vu, the feeling that I've already been there. That's the last fucking thing I want. Because I've already been there. I want the new experience. And that's where the magic carpet takes you. And Phoenician, phonetics, sound is the key, the master key to all. But you got to break the spell first. If you can't break the spell, that's not my problem. That's yours. Because I'm not here to help you. I'm not here to save you. And I'm certainly not here to put strings on your mittens. It's like last night was a beautiful example of that. And I had a chat with Mark about this as well. We had a good laugh about this. Because here it is in a nutshell. And I'm going to go through a bunch of words here that I've got. I was hoping that Sivan was going to jump in with us tonight. He tagged me. As far as I know, he's just sitting back enjoying the show. But if he wants, Sivan, if you want, just let me know. The funny thing about last night was this. I was being very deliberate. I listened back to it because I had to laugh at what I was saying and seeing the reaction. And I got to tell you, you know what it felt like? It felt like a teacher on the first day of school with all brand new students that were afraid to open their fucking mouths in case they said something wrong. And it is that fear that controls and owns your mind and heart and soul. If you are afraid to make a mistake, then you are equally afraid to not make a mistake. That's a perfect mirror, boys and girls. And I'll tell you, for people that want to jump in here, how many times have I, and I'm going to use this as an example, how many times have I explained to everyone what dir is? And as a matter of fact, I had a call telling me that God has won. A call about 5 minutes before the show started from Derwin. Thank you, Derwin. You were confirming by now. God wins. Absolutely. But you probably didn't realize that. But then I live in the now, and I'm listening for everything as a clue to my reality and what I'm shifting and what I'm moving. Not what I'm being an effect to. What am I fucking creating? And I've changed this world many times. I had to, I thought back to an email I got from my daughter a long time ago. It was quite the hate diatribe. It was quite funny to read, actually. And one of the things that she'd said in it was, you must think you're God or something. I said, no, I don't. I actually know I am, but that's a different story. You are too. And I'm really looking forward to that part of the script where it's going to be the big, oh my God moment for them, because that's going to be huge. Talk about bliss. Creating that kind of effect. Yeah, you were right. I know. I didn't need to be. I just accepted it. So if you need to be right, if you need to get everything correct, then you're not learning shit because you're afraid of being wrong. And that was well programmed into you because on the page there was a big X if you got something wrong in school. And all your friends looked at it and said, oh, fucking loser. You didn't get 10 out of 10. Ha ha ha. You only got 8 out of 10. Ha ha ha. You're less than me. Competition, competition, competition. Ego, left brain, fuckwad. Yeah. Schools are great for that. They teach the divide and conquer really good. So don't ever be afraid. You know, I got to tell you guys, it's like I'm going to hand it right to you. Go back to that first day of school with a teacher, and not one of the kids is willing to put their hands up until the teacher begs them and then points them out. Answer the fucking question! But I'll never do that. It is my wish that you have the desire to learn. I had the desire to learn. You know, I've had many people, and I get it every day. You know, where are you getting this information from, Kate? What book are you reading? He says, I'm not reading anything. I'm writing. This is my book. I'm writing my book of life. And like I said in that essay, there's no way I can write a book on this because it encompasses all of creation. That's why this is a never-ending story. You write your script as you go. Everything that was ever needed to be experienced has already been imagined. Even the impossible things become inevitable. In Eve, I, in gratitude into the toroidal field, Taurus. Everything is inevitable. At what point are you going to accept that inevitability? Everything in consciousness is inevitable. We just have a beautiful way of sharing different points of view to have different experiences from that different point of view. Gee, I wonder what it's like to be born in Tehran, raised as, you know, really fundamentalist Muslim, and this. Oh, never mind. I already know because someone is. I don't have to worry about it. It's not my problem. My problem is my game. And it's not a problem. It's a reality. And this is what it means to start experiencing it. As soon as people start realizing that everyone on this planet is just another point of you having an experience from that point of view in the one mind, then you might show a little gratitude of saying, thanks, man. Fuck. I didn't want to have to play the role of the kid starving in Africa. I didn't want to have to play the role of the most evil pedophile. I didn't want to have to play the role of a billionaire, you know? Do you see what I'm saying? What are you creating? And you are creating everything through your words, through everything you say from the Taurus field. The only thing that separates heaven and hell, the heart and the mind, is the Taurus, the mouth. The modus operandi with intent of God. You say mouth, that's what I say. Pearly gates, well, you might think of those as something that is the entrance or the exit for heaven. Well, of course it is. The pearly gates are your teeth. That's why the pearl is the gem for Gemini. And the emerald, too, by the way. Isn't that funny? Depends on which culture you look at. But I look at them all, so I have to see everything that's relevant to me. If one culture says this, okay, for that, I'm good with that. And if another culture says this for the same thing, and it's different, that counts too. And I pull all these things together. I pull all these pearls together to get a more full picture. So I don't stay focused on one thing about, oh, look, Geminis are really cool, and I'm just all the best, and yada fucking yada. It's just a game piece. Because I tell you, if you think your sign is more special than somebody else's, you're a psychopath. You're a spirit divided. And you certainly will never learn the 12 disciplines to become the true Ophiuchus, the 13th warrior. That will never happen, I'm sorry. If you're divided and conquered, you're done. So let's have a little bit of fun here. Mark dropped off there. I'm just wondering if we knocked out the entire Vile Age again tonight. I know we did. Just trying to see if he's on the board here and hasn't put his hand up yet. Oh, there's Jason. I was going to call you today, Jason. Give me a shout tomorrow, though. Hey, there's Mike. How are you?
Yeah, wonderful. Wholeness, everybody.
In the state of being whole? Absolutely. Which I am the sum of the parts, not all of them. And all of them at the same time.
That is to
so
wonder.
No worries. Do you guys want to play a little word fun? Because I did promise Mark that I would go down a bunch of different words. Anyone familiar with the writer called Chaucer or Chaucer?
Yep.
See, that's one of the characters, as I was saying this afternoon, in A Knight's Tale. There was Geoffrey Chaucer, who was the scribe, the poet, the one who wrote the patents, etc., identified fully with that, and of course the Ferris, the Irish girl called Kate. What are the odds? Pretty good, apparently. See, it's very easy for me to show how a movie means something to me because I can only use me as the example. And as I said last night, what I'm going to be doing tonight is I'm going to go through Shrek, and I'm going to write a corresponding essay with it as I watch it to show you how I watch movies and what I'm seeing in them, to give you even deeper eyes into these multi layers of singularity. It's quite something. So let's take the Chaucer. Well, typical spelling of Chaucer is Chaucer. Okay, well, let's start messing with the rules because, well, we can, because if we've been ruled by them, then we can use them. It's all good. Good for the goose, good for the gander. So I'll take that word Chaucer, or Chaucer, depending on where you want to pronounce it. But it doesn't matter to me how you pronounce it, because I'm going to pronounce it any damn way I want. So I have the CH, which is the key. I have the AU, which is gold. And say ro, which is say, himself, herself, itself, with spirit breath, ro. Oh, so what does Chaucer mean to me now? Well, it means the key to the gold of creational spirit breath. Better yet, let's make that H silent and make that C the hard C, the ka sound. And then we'll make the other C in Chaucer an S, because a C can be an S, can be a K, can be a F, can be a PH, can be anything you want in a corresponding way. So that's where Chaucer becomes causer. You can also do this with it. You can leave the H where it is, leave the C as the S, and now we have chaser or causer. So this is what it means to be chasing the dragon. Are you the chaser of the dragon or the causer of the dragon? And dragon, well, that's the drag one. It's like the drag net, which is the dragon net. Are you caught in the mirror of the mind? Now, are you chasing the tail, T-A-L-E, or the T-A-I-L? Same sound, two different intents. Now, is the causer the head or the head with two E's? Heed. Head, same thing. I can silence one of the E's. I can silence the A, and better yet, I can silence the E in head and have had. Or Hade. Hades? Yeah. So let's have a look at another word. You're probably familiar with this word, important. But I bet you don't know the root. Root, R-O-O-T, R-O-U-T-E of the word. Well, let's have a look at it then, shall we? Well, I just wrote the word out, sitting in front of me, important. Okay, well, let's slice that up to the important. Well, I know that it can mean not, impossible. Isn't it interesting? Important. Not left mind. Isn't that interesting? Or I'm left mind. Oh, that's right, port. I might as well explain what port is. Port, well, it can be a sherry that you like to drink or hang out with. I think sherry's pretty cool. Po, which is spirit seed. Let's break it down further. I've got more on the port thing, but port is typically the left side of the ship if you're looking from the stern to the bow. Here's the thing, though. You got to also look from the bow to stern, because one must bow to the divine feminine mind. Bow to stir en. So remember, if you're just looking in one direction on the ship, you're missing it. You're missing half the story. You've only got the forward-facing G instead of backwards-facing one, which turns it into pure spirit, theta, Greek letter. So we have the port, which is left. So if we have left, then that must be the cane. Yeah, that's right, the cane mind, absolutely. But port is also somewhere that's calm. It's protected. So in as much as you have the chaos of the left mind, it's also the calm as well. Everything's a quad here. Remember, it's a crosshairs. And you have to see all 4 points to see the singularity. All right, ent, we already know, means mind. So I'm Cain left mind, I'm calm mind, or not Cain left mind, not calm mind. So what does important really mean? And just how important is everything to you now? You will put things in a priority depending on the level of psychopathy you are experiencing in a duality. But once you redefine the sounds contained within the spell, like when I write out important as it was written for a dictionary to define, that is a spell that is cast. It is solid, it cannot change, it is glued in place for those that created it. And this is where you get to be the goo of the universe. You can flow in and out of it any way you want, because they, the creator aspect of us that did this to play this game, it's just a game. There's no good or bad here, guys. It's just a game. Can we figure it out? We have the illusion of this. But that part of us that created this, and we're climbing up the ladder here, and some are not climbing, some are falling, and that's okay too. It's all good. Some want to keep re-experiencing the same idiocy that they've had for an entire lifetime, and if that's what you want, that light at the end of the tunnel is you coming back into the game from the same mother you had. You won't remember a damn thing either. So here's a clue. With the information I'm sharing right now, I'm giving you the keys to get out. This is a part of the movie where you panic. That's where you go across the I, the self, the yes in the unconditional note of love. Time to panic indeed. But it doesn't mean the same thing anymore, does it? That's the point I'm trying to make. If you can break the spell, not if, when you break the spell, when you take the word, any word that is deemed positive and turn it negative, you have neutralized it. Like I've done with the word refuse. Anyone asking someone, do you refuse to have a lawyer, is committing the highest crime against creation. And they will wear it, and that's fine. Because what they're doing is using a duality to entrap a point of spiritual consciousness into death. If a human being can be a legal person, then so must a legal person be a human being. And if you kill one or the other, you're actually killing both by definition. That's the pigeonhole that these guys are trapped in. And I've got lots of cock to seal that hole up. And then you can take that sound any way you want, can't you? Because it works both ways. Works in many ways. So let's look at the word science. Well, the sound psi, well, that can be spelled S-I-G-H. Can also be spelled P-S-I, like the Greek letter meaning spirit. I love using Greek and Egyptian most. Ents. Well, we know what ents means, right? It means mind. So what is science? And I'll tell you, any scientist is the furthest from the spirit mind. There's nothing further from the spirit than someone who is trying to prove God through the physical. Let's stare at the effect and see if God's there. Let's get right down to, particles and quarks and quantum and get all silly with that shit. Only to realize that it just keeps getting fucking smaller, idiot. That's what a fractal does. It goes infinitely small to infinitely large. Good luck trying to find it.
Well, it's kind of funny. It's like you're trying to explain the same thing and you're just using different words. And like, look, I'm getting smarter. It's a quark now. Or it's this other smaller particle of energy. And I'm like, yeah, you can go infinitely that way and you can go infinitely large and please come back home.
Either way, you're going to find the way home, because someone like, say, a Stephen Hawking that's going all the way down and all the way down realizes that when you get far enough, you realize that there is nothing to see anymore. You will see nothing. And that's creation. In the same way that the more spiritual you get, you begin to understand nothing is. Going this way is the shortcut, actually. Because all of that programming that has went all the way down with these supposedly intellectually brilliant retards are just showing what they are. Intellectual retards trapped completely in the left brain. Oh, they're in port, all right. With more port than they've been able to drink, and they're drunk with their intellectuals. I know many of them. Let's have a look at the word contestant. So you're starting to get the rhythm of this. Con, as a prefix, means with or without. That was shown in 1913 Webster's. It comes from Latin cum. Test. Oh, okay. Well, a test would be something you would take to show how intellectually retarded you are. It can also be the love of the divine feminine love. TST. Remember, I can insert any letter I want to create any word I want. That's why there is no such thing as multiple words. There is only one word. In the beginning, there was the word. But no one told you that it contains all of this. It's a pretty long word, isn't it? It's an infinitely long word. That's why you will never know the name of God, because you are God. Ent, mind. So we have con, test, ent, which is with test of the mind or without test of the mind. Testament. Test to mind. In French is to go somewhere. How about worlds collide? Oh, I'll spell that for you so you understand what my intent is. You see, you can prove the intent by the spellings. And that's how you reverse the spellings, by countering them with their own fire. Fire versus fire. It works. Worlds, WHIRLEDS. Collide, CO-LIED. Yeah, worlds collide. How about concealment? With seal of the mind. With the say all, the creation of all mind, or without the creation of all mind. So not only does concealment mean to hide something, but it means to fully show it. With the creation of the all mind. That's the all-seeing eye. The all-saying, creating, self, I. How about concise? Oh, here, I'll do concise, and there's another one I wanted to do. Con, with, and concise can be concise, with size. And that's what being concise is all about, isn't it? When somebody is being concise, what they're doing is taking something large and making it smaller, so it has everything to do with size. You just made the S too hard. With size, or without size. So it means equal and opposite at the same time. Neutralized. X marks the spot. How about detriment? Of Trinity mind or no Trinity mind? Well, if you have no Trinity mind, it's certainly not a good thing, so that would be a detriment, wouldn't it? But now I've showed you how it's a beautiful thing of the Trinity mind. So a detriment is actually a detriment. Let's look at the word silence. Interesting word. Oh, right. Spirit with intent mind. Silence. That's why silence is golden. But you better make the L, the intent, silent, because you've already got it in the spirit of intent mind. So now you're Godin. Godin. Goat, got, get. Yeah, it's all the same thing to me. So there's a handful of words. Another one I'd done today, too. Actually, I should probably do source, pronounce, entertainment, and immortal. Those were ones that Mark and I discussed. Source. Well, you have SCW. So. U, which is intent. Electrical, international symbol for electricity. Remember, all the rules apply. Break all the rules and use all the rules. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You throw a goose or a gander in the oven at 400 degrees, both of them are going to get cooked. So this is where I'm cooking both the goose and the gander, because it's a quad. So I'm cooking the negative goose and the negative gander at the same time. And I'm going to stuff it, too, allegorically. So you have the SO, S-O, or S-E-W, as I like to consider it, as in a needle-pulling thread. U, which is the electrical intent, masculine. R, which is Greek, spirit breath, Rho, and Se, which is creation. So what is source? Well, it's sowing the intent of spirit breath into creation. Yeah, fuck, that works. Perfect. I'll give myself a check mark on that one. So now you know what source is. It is the saying, the creating of your intent with spirit breath, words, talking, into creation. That's what so you ro say is, source. So I'll pronounce that word whatever fucking way I want. So you rose. To somebody else it's gibberish, but you know what it means. It's not gibberish to you. So if it's not gibberish to you, then everything else as it was must be gibberish by definition. Of course it is. This is why every legal document, every book ever written, without pure intent being decoded for you, is pure and utter gibberish. Let's look at pronouns. I covered this one earlier. So we have pro, which means for. Now. Okay, now works. For now. The N makes it mine, so it's for my now. In creation, say. CE can be an SE. Latin, say. Pro, say. Prose. Creator is a poet. And don't you know it? Entertainment. Well, there's the ent, the mind in reverse, ER instead of re. That is the mirror light of God. That which is reflected to you instead of you reflecting out. So ent, the mind of the reversed mirror, in the mirror, tain, which is a tin, shined up tin plate into a mirror, meant. So it is the mind into the mirror of the mind. Are you not entertained? That's what happens. For me, entertainment is what it means to be in a pure state of carry out the dead, literal. The letter kills. Indeed it does. And of course you have I'm mortal. Oh, sorry, you might say immortal. An apostrophe wherever I want. So im before a word means not, as in impossible, not possible. So not mort all, not the death of all, or I'm the death of all. And the all is you. You are immortal, if you choose to be. Let's take it even further. There's the I'm, and you have modus operandi, MO, the modus operandi of spirit breath, rho, in the note of love, T, for all. Now, an all is something you would carve a ship out with, yeah? You know, dugout boat, you would use like an adze and an all to hollow out your mind. It's time to empty your mind of all the garbage. So anyway, there's a handful of them just to let you know where Phoenician is for me. And you all have this ability. Take any word you want and start breaking it up into the sounds. Have a look at the Greek alphabet. Have a look at some of the Egyptian words, like alchemy, which you might say alchemy, so it's all, the total, chem, which is Egyptian for black, magnetic electric, me. So it makes total sense. It's all black, magnetic electric. That is the void of creation. That's the is that is. Without intention. That's why psi-l-ens is so important. It is a spirit of intention mind. It's a 0 point, where X, the Phoenician letter, T, which is an O with an X in it, is the sights, the crosshairs that you need to get your bull's eye, your toroidal field of I, the self. When you find the singularity, now you're in God mode. So, have at her. Enough said by me. I think I've made it pretty clear.
I like that God mode, like on a game player.
I'm in God mode. Modus operandi in the note of love into consciousness. 9. And the word is God. We just spelled it out in infinite different ways. It's beautiful. Anybody else? Come on. Oh, here, I got Janet in here. Sorry, just opened the board. And I got Jason, you're in here as well. And anybody else that wants in, put your hand up. Class is open and you are the teacher and the student, just like me. Need a little feedback. You can call in at 661-467-2401. Or you can refresh the page you're listening on with Blog Talk and click the Skype button. Follow your nose. It always knows. Toucan say me, Sam, told you all along, you bunch of Fruit Loops. It's too funny. This is it's just too funny.
England.
Hey, Jason, how are you doing?
Doing okay. I'm doing very well. And I can hear that everybody here is doing very well as well. So that's great.
Exceptional.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The code is cracked. All that's happening with me now is it's getting more and more fractal. So I'm going to be having a little bit of fun now because I'm casting spells, pure spells, with only my intent in them. It's freaking awesome.
I'm still just getting my head around it. I've not got my head around it in totality at all, but it's sinking in rapidly. And I think you just mentioned then I was, So my take on what's gone on this dynamic, before we use language, I think we were telepathic beings, and of course what happened was there was a construct of language brought out that was cast into a way of being, i.e., spell it this way and it means this, and this is what I've listened to and taken in from yourself. So a dictionary says this, and of course the whole for eons now, everybody's been logged into one word means one thing. Now before that, and I was thinking, well, what does the Bible say? Well, the Bible says, does it? And the word was God. And my take on who these gods are that were sort of told to worship, or suggested that it's well worth worshipping them. They are the beings that came and did a little bit of genetic engineering down here on the planet, and then the game started. You see, before that, I don't think. Well, I sort of know, in fact, that ourselves as spirit beings weren't on this path. So we came to this planet and incarnated in these bodies, these human bodies, and then the word was formed. And of course, we've always been worshipping alien, what we people call an alien god, i.e., a genetic scientist. That's the physical side of what's going on. The spiritual side of what's going on was it was a great game for our spirits to dive in and play in this playing field, if you will. Now, so of course it tells us there in the Bible, does it? And God created the Word. And I was speaking to a friend this morning about what you've been talking. I was listening in bed last night. I didn't join in, but I was listening in bed, and it started to really come clear with a little bit of clarity. So I was saying to Alex, talking to Alex, and she, just saying, think about this. From one word, you create all words. So let's say the first word was word, and from word you get two words out of it. I can't think of two words off the top of my head, but you could have war, W-O-R, or ward, W-O-R-D. So you've got two words now. So you've now started the pyramid of the language, right? So you now, from those two words, you create four, you create eight, and each one of those you link a definition to, which is exactly what's happened. And what I've learned from listening to yourself is, well, hang on a minute, okay. So there's one cast set of words out there that we're told in dictionaries mean this, and we're told in other ways mean this, and everybody uses them, not even considering mostly that they can mean anything else. What I've learned, of course, wow, hang on a minute, so what's going on here is, right, there's actually a million ways that you can form this, and that's an infinite, you can have a million, but infinite sets of structures of words as languages. So that's where I'm up to with it now. So that, for myself, that's really powerful to understand that, because I can use the language as defined if I choose to. I can undefine the language or parts of the language in the defined language mode that we're told is that a lot of other people use, and I can mix it about, and I fully understand, the idea of, hang on a minute, what's this letter saying? Let me just put it to my ear. Nothing. Oh, right. What do these words say? I don't understand them. So now sometimes I might choose to understand them, Kate, you see. So, this, and it was, again, this idea of, that is thrown out there of these two words, them and us. So you got polarity 1, polarity 2, negative, positive, whichever way you want to look at it. And again, this is only recent coming into my mind, and it's not real. I'm using the term thought form as an incarnation. You could use the word incarnation. You could use the word, use those two words, let's say that. So if these thems are us, which again, you suggest from the way that you see things, and it's a nice way to look at it. So I can look at it that way as well, or I can look at it many ways. So these other thought forms are actually us are just polarized versions of me. And all I've got to do, which I believe I'm getting very close to it, is be in a beautiful place of balance where I can actually liaise, intermingle, exchange views, and work with all of these thought forms. So what I've decided I don't want to do, which I was doing up to maybe 6 months ago, I was thinking I was in some sort of conflict-ish with other beings on this planet. I'm actually not. So yeah, I choose not to be. Let's put it like that. I choose not to be. Doesn't mean that I've not got rogue minor thought forms in me, which I will call, or some of them are still polarized. But I need, I'm working on getting those out. And yeah, since I found this table a few months ago, I just think it's fundamentally another shift in my awareness on another level. And when we had a conversation with each other, what I said to you was, this is just another beautiful tool, this language tool, for my toolbox, because I've got a couple of tools that I've picked up, that I've learnt myself and I've picked up from other people. And you are one of the masters of unpicking this, I believe. I've not heard anybody decipher it this way before. And so I choose to listen to that from yourself, because I think it's really useful to me. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I'm still letting it all sink in. The intricacies that you go into yourself, I'm not there, and I might not need to get there, is what I'm sort of saying here. But I do understand the core concept of it, and for me, that I like to be a jack of all trades, and for me, that's I can develop it as I go along. But I can also see how actually I can live in a different world, because the language that everybody else is using, if I choose not to use it, well, guess what? That world that they're living doesn't exist to me anymore.
Well, again, it comes right back. It comes right back down to the simple fact that your reality is yours. Just a couple of little points that I want to make as well. The most dangerous thing on your computer keyboard is your space bar.
Right.
Because that's what happens when there is a space that is allowed for creation. Then other things can be created. So I'm going to show you why it was so important that the Irish allowed for the space to be created, because it was the Irish that put spaces between words to allow for the opening of creation again. And if you look at legal documents, this is one of the things I noticed a long time ago. I had managed to receive a couple of things that were in the real legal form, and when I hit format, I wanted to see how it was formatted. I do this. I look for what you can't see. It looks pretty normal, but what I noticed immediately was this. When I hit format, oh, look, there's two spaces between those words. And there's two spaces between those. So what is it saying? Well, it's saying it's open space, that anything can be put in there as a silent letter and invisible at the same time, so that the intent can be hidden. So the space bar, the British Accredited Registry, is exactly what the space bar is.
Okay.
And they use it very well in their legal stuff. And this is an early clue that I had with this. So what we do with the spaces is we eliminate any potential. So I will simply say this, and I'll put one together, where you will actually write one entire word where only you know where the spaces are. So you don't allow for any other creation in your work. It's one complete word.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right? So there you go. There's another little tidbit of fun for you, and this is where I'm going with it. I've got a few seeds I'm going to be planting because doors have been opened, and I know why they opened. And me, I just follow creation. I just follow my cab driver. James knows the way home. And when I feel it, and this is the same way I am with songs, only when I feel a song would I write one. It had to feel. I had to know that I was open to it. That's why for me to sit down and just write, I cannot do that. And there were many times I got agitated because I knew I wanted to write something, but there was something saying, no, not yet, wait. It's going to hit you. Don't worry, just wait. And then the feeling hits and I sit down and I just puke out what I puke out. And they are pure song downloads. That's all they are. Mm-hmm. I go back through some of my work and read it and go, I wrote that? Holy shit, that was right on the money. Not even realizing I'd written it, especially in the way I wrote it. So it really is a rediscovery of yourself through yourself. It's really interesting. It's a fun concept. I think we have Barbara here as well. Now, I was waiting to hear back from Sivan. I'm not sure if Sivan is going to come in tonight. He mentioned that he might. But either way, hey, Barbara, your phone is really, really noisy, hon.
Where's James? What's the listening?
Okay.
Hey,
you there,
Kate.
Barb? Oh, no, we just lost her. Okay, go ahead, Michael.
I find this funny. Over the past few weeks or so, maybe it's been a little bit longer, that sometimes when we mention Sivan, like we're just remembering something and we think of him and we mention him on the show, and like, wow, I wish Sivan would come on and shine some light and knowledge and truth. And what I recognized was Barbara comes on. It's been like 3 or 4 times, man.
Yeah. Now here, guys. Here's the question for you. I want you to tell me why 7, the number 7, is God. I know why. It's really easy. If you were listening to what I was saying at all, you would already know the answer. So I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to tell anybody. You're going to have to tell me. And I really hope you fuck it up so that you can see the contrast. And what Jason was saying earlier was this. Remember that City of London lawyer? There's one of the ones in the know. Remember, this referee's here, so we can't beat ourselves up too much. You know, we have to have points of our consciousness that really knows what's going on to make sure the game is directed and it doesn't get completely out of hand. You know, like any good sport will have referees. And, of course, neutrals from both sides, just to make sure the game is played fair. Okay? So for me, it's all about contrast. Contrast, same word. I can take the C and make it sound like an S. Okay? So let me tell you why it's all here. Listen, here to here is all about contrast. If you are polarized, you will look at somebody as being evil. Oh, those nasty bastards. And if you see someone as benevolent, oh, look at that really pure angel. You're polarized and psychopathic. Try looking at it from this perspective, and you'll probably see a whole lot better. I put myself at 0 point, right in the middle. And I see that which I was, based on that which I am, to create that which I will be in that contrast. Completely neutral, completely zero, no judgments allowed, because no judgments are necessary. Judge not, lest ye be judged. So if I look at something that before would have irritated me, that would just be me irritating me. So anyway, I look at something that would be irritating me, and I look at how far I've climbed from, and where I started, and how high up the ladder I started in comparison to some of these psychopaths out there, very low-level forms of us, to provide that infinite of contrast. And when I know where I was, to see where I am now, then I can start recreating myself in an even better image, because I have a better feeling of myself. Therefore, I'm still climbing. And this game is all about you. It is all about intent. That's why it's all about me and all about you. It's all about you and me. The intent in the magnetic electric.
Is 7 God because it can't be divided?
No, that's correct. I want you to do it through phonics, though. Tell me what the root of the word is and why 7 is God. Only in the sound.
Spirit.
You won't find it in the literal. So keep going.
The Spirit is the S, so then the E is the 6, and the creation.
9 consciousness.
Let's over.
You're going letter by letter, so let's take it in 3 different points first. See, this is the thing. People want to complicate it, and that's good. I'm glad to see where you went. Yes, S is divine feminine. E is the 9 in reverse, which is consciousness. But let's
one perspective, Kate, I'll go. So it's set is set. Then we can take it to 7 being set taking it to the French. But anyways, we're going with where we come to set.
Then you've just said that 7 is 7 again. I want you to tell me why say, they, and is God.
Yeah.
You see, everyone's going into the left brain complicated. And I needed you guys... Hang on. I needed...
Every name. We can come to this.
All right. I needed you both to do this. You went completely complicated. You didn't listen to the word. You were looking at it. Listen to it first.
Say, they, on.
Say, they, and. What is say?
Say, zero. Zero. Say. Say, they, so that would be the law.
No, you see, you're going left brain again. I got to get you kids back here. You guys are being way too grown up for my liking. Listen.
I know it.
Listen to the words and what they mean.
On.
What is say, as in pro se? What is say Latin for?
Creation.
Very good. Someone gets a gold star. Say creation. What is
you unblocked me. Okay, 7 to me means save on. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. That's mimicking, that's parroting. What does it fucking mean? I need you to redefine it. You're just regurgitating it. There's a difference here. I need you to get this, guys.
Creation law in
Where are you getting law?
Law of Ve.
Ve does not mean law. Ve means Ve from the word. There's
verily.
A few letters missing. Verily. What does verily mean? Verily, verily, I say unto thee.
Truth.
Thank you. Truth. Okay, someone's got speakers on. Or it's a phone. 1 sec, I'm just going to check to see which one it is. Checking 1, 2. Checking 1, 2. Checking. There. Okay, area code 321, you have to turn your speakers down. Or get off the hands-free. One of the two. Okay, so now we have say, they. What does N mean? I covered all three of these in that essay. Just want to see how much you were paying attention.
Hey, Kay.
Yeah.
Hi. I sent it to you in your Skype window, but you wouldn't have seen it because I wasn't on the call, but I'm here now. I have my theory.
Okay, 1 sec. Don't say anything.
Okay.
Thank you. You got it right. You nailed it. There's the cross of love. You got it. And I'm not going to tell anybody what it is. And this if there's anything that irritates me is the fact that people are still looking for fucking mitten strings and they're still staying in the literal. They're still complicating it, trying to, look how clever. I don't care how fucking clever you are. I want to know how dumb, silent you are. Where you can actually listen. That's what it means to be the king dumb. The king of silence.
Well, that's what in is. That you remember. It's like a stop. It's like a
what is?
Full stop. In. It's.
I didn't say in. I said N.
N.
There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters in 7. How tough can it be?
Yeah.
So we have say, which means creation, correct. Ve, from verily, meaning truth, correct. What does N, the letter N, mean? Oh, wait. Let's see who's brave enough to try to get it right or try to get it wrong. Either way works for me. That means you're not a chicken shit.
Silence.
Well,
Well, you said earlier,
is
you said the 5 and the 7.
inside.
So 5 is a divine feminine, 7 is a god, and 6 is a balance.
9.
My God, look at you guys going off in this. You do wonders in a courtroom. All right, I'm going to pick on everybody tonight because I really need to get this fucking point home. Ninja nailed it. Like, nailed it. It's really simple. It's so simple. You guys are trying too hard. Stop trying so hard.
Creation, truth, mine.
Thank you.
I knew it would take me a few minutes.
That's what God
I jump
is.
up and down with you, Kate. You have no idea what's going on down here in Florida with me in the chair.
You know? So there it is. Say it again for everybody. Say VN means?
Creation, truth, mine.
Infinitely mine even, because it's the nth, the infinite creation to the nth degree, my God degree. That's why 7 is God. Now you know the root of the sounds. And you can take those all apart again. Look what N is. When you say it's mine, well, you can pronounce it M, because MI can make a me sound, so now you can respell it to magnetic electric, mine, in consciousness. And I can expand that one letter out and keep going out to show you that it's the same thing. It is magical. That's why magic is the mage I see, the magnetic I see, in unconditional, open note of unconditional love. Very well done. So there's 7. The game here is not to complicate it, is to simplify it. And then you can complicate it all you want to prove it even further. I've done this. I've taken words, very small things, and expanded them out and seen the same thing in everything. And I don't care what language it is, because there's one thing that parallels all of it, sound, and it creates all of it. So there's a good one. Now, how hard was that?
Very difficult.
Well, I'm trying to get people to stop being complicated and being afraid of me. You guys are shit scared of me.
I'm not.
No,
I'm not either.
My mind goes blank, and then
That's because there's a fear there. If your mind goes blank, it's because I don't want to say anything, so I'm going to blank out and I don't have to say anything. That is a complete runaway. Okay? Yeah. I want you jumping in the pool. The sharks are where you are. I'm in the clear water here. Speaking of Florida. Okay?
I don't know the 66 phonetic rules, so I don't even know how to unbreak them to break them.
Right?
So I've just used creative spelling all my life.
Okay, let's carry on with the 66 phonetic rules. What is 6 times 6?
36.
What is 36?
We did this last night, too, didn't we?
Yes, we did. What is 36? Consciousness, 9. The infinite self, the infinite I, in the infinite consciousness. And look at that. Word 9, spelled out, N-I-N-E, becomes itself all over. It keeps recreating itself. That's the infinite I of the infinite consciousness, which is 9, and you respell it out. It's the infinite I of the infinite consciousness of the infinite I of the infinite consciousness. That's the fractal. That's why 9 is the fractal. Look at the word usufruct. From fructus, meaning fruit. Yeah, they're using the fruit. No shit, Sherlock. Yeah, we've all been fracked. Looks like, what do you think fractal is? Well, let's fract all of them. We've all been fracked. Do you see now? Do you see some of the allegories of what fracking is all about?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a physical thing, but everyone's they're fracking. They're what is fracking? Fracking is getting under the fucking shale and opening it up to release the oils of truth. But you see it as a black trail. You might call them chemtrails. What's the difference between a chemtrail and a contrail? Well, one ain't going to bullshit you. And the one that you're worshiping is the con. The water vapors instead of the chem. Let's run away from the black trails and be convinced by the contrails. While they open you up and take out your entrails.
I lost you on that one, Katie.
Okay, well, I'll do it again.
You lost me on that one, please.
Okay, I'll do it again. You've heard of chemtrails, yes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and what kind of reaction do you get? Ooh, that's evil, it's bad. Look, you're polarized because you don't understand what it's actually telling you in the allegoric. Start looking at this world from a different set of eyes. Don't look at it literally. You'll miss it. Oh, you'll be entertained. Oh, look, there's a plane with chemtrails and one with contrails. That's literal. That's staring
I jump around in the middle of the street yelling, "Danger, danger, Will Robinson." I mean, I don't like the chemtrails. They're they're horrendous over here.
Well, you see, and I'll tell you,
so
when
please
you get
break
this,
it down for me. Break that spell.
When you get this, they will disappear.
Okay, good.
You are creating the fucking things. So stop. I'm asking you, when you
please help me to stop that, please.
As soon as I can finish a sentence, I will. Trust me, I'm loading up here to make sure you get this. What is the Egyptian word for black?
Chem.
Thank you. If something is a con, like 3-card Monty, what is it? It's a deception. Decepticons. Yeah? Just
okay.
All right. So, if divine creation is black, is the void, the jet, is chem evil or good now?
Good.
If con means a deception, is it good or evil? We still need to see the contrast to see the game. I'm showing you the X that marks the spot, the quad, to show you that chemtrails are good and contrails are evil, where everyone thinks that chemtrails are evil and contrails are good. This is an illusion. This is a fractal illusion. I'm showing you, and we display it to ourselves in everything we see. Everything. That which you focus on, with your intent of your understanding, by your definition, you are creating. Fact. That goes without question. You don't need to go on a quest for that, and it's already done. It's answered. Okay, so we have chemtrails, which are the trails to the divine feminine void. That's a clue. Or it's a nail. Depends on the language. Clue in French is nail. Okay? So the chemtrails are good, and what's happening is they are manifesting to show you this. The contrails, that which we think are inert, innocuous. Oh, it's just water vapors from a jet engine. It's just a contrail. There is no reaction to that. So there's no reaction to the contrails. You take it as normal. So you're accepting that reality. What I'm trying to show you is the mirror of it. So the more chemtrails you have, is just the more that you need to understand what I'm saying to make them go away. This is how we create a reality. So while you're staring at the contrails as being a good thing, oh look, the planes with the contrails are good, you're basically, you might as well be in church following religion, where they'll tell you, Jesus will save you. Oh, the contrails are good. It's the same thing to me. Whereas the chemtrails will kill you, the meat stick, and evil, I've been there. I've heard it all. I've been part of it all. I just stepped away and said, wait a minute, that's kind of stupid. So I look at the chemtrails now as something good. Just like fluoride. Who thinks fluoride in their water is a bad thing? You'll see people protesting it. I'm going to tell you why it's a good thing. To neutralize it. This is not to make good or evil. This is to take good and evil and make them the same fucking thing. 0 point it. Neutralize it. Fluoride. I don't know about you, but hardening the pineal, turning it to the rock of ages, the real rock that Moses struck with a staff to release the truth, your pineal must be hard in order to open.
So it will crack and let the light in.
It's a soft, sandy mixture. And only when it gets hard, either through awakening and realizing this, or through artificial means, because you're not quite there yet, to harden it, because you don't want a soft pineal. And I'll tell you something else. You won't get there if you're in an angry emotional state all the time. So you kind of got to be calm, docilated, if you will, to get that anger out. And what does fluoride do? Well, it calcifies the pineal. Perfect. Cal, K-L, sci-fi. Ka, the spirit with intent of spirit in creation. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. And of course, if you're emotional, I've talked about this for ages. If you're emotional, you will never solve anything because you're caught in this circular trap of emotions. No-goes. No mote ions. Where I prefer to have no mote shuns. That's why you file mote ions in court. But you don't file them as mote ions. You file them as Phi-L, sacred creation with intent, mote shuns. I'm giving away all my power here. I'm filing a mote shun. Do you see the power of the trickery here? And it's only about taking the words and redefining them as you want them, to resound them, to make you a resounding success instead of a resounding success. I might want to explain success for you. Suck. Well, we all know what that's all about. Cess. Well, that's Latin for tax. Yeah, you are really successful if you're caught up in the meat game.
Yeah, suck it up and see how you like it.
Right. Now, we can also make it a little differently. We can be the Sous, S-O-U-S, S-U makes that sound. We can be under unconditional love of spirits in unconditional consciousness of the is. Pure creation itself. It just depends on what your definition of is. More importantly, it's not about the definition of it, it's more about the pronoun and saying of it that determines what you're creating. It's not the word, it's the pronoun and saying of the word that changes it. And sorry, I'm going to be a cunt, guys. It's just the way I am. Because, like I said, last night, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. And I'd rather you be winning the truth than caught in the quagmire of the lie. And that's going to be your choice. If you want it, great. If you don't, great. I'm going to love you either way. My cab driver has me anyway. I'm just going to follow my feet home. I don't have to worry about a map because my feet will take me there regardless because I trust my higher self. I've said to Aladdin, yes, I trust you. And I'm quite content with that. So there's why chemtrails are a beautiful thing. And just look at them with gratitude and say, thank you for telling me, and watch what happens. Thank you for telling me that it's a divine consciousness of the void that I'm needing to see and dispel all of the fear that is attached with it. If it creates an emotion within you, you are spellbound. You are caught in the spell of this place. And what we're doing here is about returning to pure intent in the goddess, the Io that is mine in love, which is the law of truth, law of Ve. And I'll write some more stuff to get it clear. Go ahead, Ninj.
It's all a din until you have the ears to hear it.
Yes, absolutely. Jazz mine, baby. Yeah, it's mine. And it can be Allah done, too, if you want. And there's that Allah again. And that's see, there's Muhammad. There's a guy that wasn't teaching about a God because he said there is no God. There is only the Allah. He had it nailed. So did Jesus. So did all the teachers. And the only ones that mess it up were the lawyers. For ye have corrupted the truth. You might ask yourself the question as to why second is a measure of time. Well, it's creation conned, isn't it? Say conned. How about minute? Oh, you might say minute. To make you small, minute. Because your spiritual creation is conned.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If the chemtrails are fantastic, which they are, and then the lawyers are fantastic, which they are, so why would you say that the lawyers are the tricksters?
Well,
because
no, I didn't say.
Once you move, I can't remember what you said, but it was still painting this idea of lawyers as being to use polarity negative.
Well, again, they're there to give it. They're there to give us the game. That's just another perspective. It's just a contrast.
But it's also from my perspective now when I take on board that all of these things actually fall into irrelevance because, my evolution is going to happen regardless of what goes on the physical level. So all of these things then they all start falling off the cliff, don't they? The lawyers fall off the cliff, they become irrelevant.
Everything.
The chemtrails fall off the cliff, they become irrelevant. A nuclear bomb falls off the cliff, it becomes irrelevant. Fukushima falls off the cliff, it becomes irrelevant. And use that word Fukushima, it's Fukushima. Look who Shima is. She's an ex-queen. She was an ancient queen of Buddhism. So who's playing with her? Why did they name it? Why did us name it Fukushima? And then why did we create an earthquake there? So, again, it doesn't really matter because it's all part of the dynamics of the game. On the bigger board, the game creators have cast a bigger spell than is cast down here in the physical by, the neophytes, which are us, really. We're just learning, well, for me anyway, I'm just learning to evolve out of this onto higher levels where this idea of language it's not needed when I move off this plane. So I go back to a sweeter state of being, which is my thought creates, my intent creates, my creation creates everything that's formed. Because language is a bind whichever way we take it, from my perspective, even if we can evolve it to a point, even if I can evolve it to a point, I still have to use words where actually, if I'm using thoughts, I'm creating a picture which is much more obvious.
Jason?
Yeah.
Jason, it is about changing the intent within yourself, then you're using the words in a neutral, non-spell casting ability. Yeah, that's all it is.
I genuinely fully understand that. I do fully understand it's the intent of how the word is put forward by myself. Why am I saying it? And what's my meaning or my intent behind it? I understand that. What I'm saying is once we get over this word problem or challenge or situation or understanding, whatever I want to call it, then there's got to be a higher level than that. There's got to be a higher level than creation is sound. Creation is only sound on, from my perspective anyway, on this density level, this third density physical game. Move out of the physical game. Once I've evolved out, I've graduated back to my higher self from this physical game, then sound doesn't occur in the higher densities. That would be my current thinking on what I choose to see as my ledge of knowledge. So I'm just throwing that in there for just putting it in there, really.
Well, look at the word current. Current or current? Cur means a curse, or cure.
Or occurred on.
So it depends. See, now that word has been neutralized because you can see both sides of it. One is a cur and one is a cure. What current are you running in? Is it the cure end, the healing mind, or the cur end? There's Ophiuchus, the I heal not.
Exactly. And the word curse, C-U-R-S-E, is also cures, C-U-R-E-S. So same word. So, and I was doing that after. And you
don't have to spell it differently either.
No. Well, all the letters are contained in it, and of course, what I was doing after what happened 6 months ago, I was putting a curse, actual physical word curse, on the individuals who assaulted me. And what I was actually saying was, you can have it either way. You can take your curse, and as you would describe it in your mirror, what will come back to you will be some serious consequences created by yourselves, or you can take the cures, C-U-R-E-S. So take a curse or take the cures, either way. And I cast out there my intent for both of those things. Now, of course, I don't know what's going to happen because I've backed off after picking up on this show and listening to you guys and you ladies. I've backed off from that now and just left it up, and I'm using now that they're another point of me, so I can accept that in a way that makes me, which is the only thing that has to be important, or else I'm living in the resentment. I'm re-feeling it all the time. I'm moving out of that frame of reference into it's going to manifest for them anyway, and I wish these individuals well. So everything is, and I don't know why I'm saying this about that, but everything is a learning curve. So all of this stuff I was sort of doing before, I sort of joined the table in a more rudimentary way, and what I've got by just this short, brief spell of listening to you all is a much more fundamental understanding of how I can use these sounds that we call words. And now I understand that.
It's all about redefining your reality, no one else's. You have to bring this home to yourself. This is not about. You see, I'm not here trying to educate anyone or anything. What I am doing is sharing how I've redefined as it pertains to me, per the mirror of me. Not you. What you get from what I share of my experience is what you resonate with and can use. If it clicks with you, there you have the tools. And this is where I trust only in truth. That is the true theos, true God. And we're dealing in a world, in a reality that is oil and water. We have two diametrically opposed absolute truths intertwining with each other. Complete mirror opposites of black and white. What we have to do is find the middle to make the grade area. And that's it. It really is that simple. So this is about redefining your reality. It's not about what you're doing to change others. Once you change your definitions within yourself as to what you will accept a word to mean, like someone who say, hey, fuck you, asshole, and some people will get upset about that. And I look at it and go, thanks, man. That's awesome. And someone would say, oh, you're beautiful. I say, well, fuck you too. Because I can turn each word around, because I know the 0 point. So you can really start messing with people's heads. And here's the joy of it. Once you've got this, what you're empowering yourself is you're adding to the powder keg, so that everything you say, everything you create, is actually creating. That's where the power is. It's finding that singularity, and it's all contained in the sound, not the words. If you let someone else define your words for you, then you are speaking someone else's tongue, not the natural God tongue.
And that's the key. Understanding that is definitely the key for understanding that I now am well aware that I'm forming everything that I utter.
And the other side of this coin, I tell people all the time, is when you leave the table, go get somewhere quiet and let this just gel. Don't try to think it out. And this is what I see people doing all the time. They're trying to overthink it. And that's the trap of the left brain intellect. Shut it down and bring the child to the table. Oh, look, 7. Say, they, and. Ah, it's cool. There's 3 words in there. And this word means this, and this word means this, and this letter means this. And you do that with every word. And then what Janet was doing, yes, let's go through it letter by letter. So S is divine. There's half of the infinity of 8. Right? So that's the mirrored half of the divine feminine. And then we have E, which of course is the reverse of 3, which is the Trinity, which is of course the yin and yang, the 9, which is the infinite self in infinite creation, and infinite self in infinite creation. And then you have V, which are the open arms of creation, the void, ever expanding from the center point, going outwards. And then we have the E again, consciousness all over again. And look at that. It's all mine. Letter by letter, it says the same thing. No space is allowed. No space is needed. I just use spaces to show the separation so that I can unify the entire word. So by ripping the word apart, you're actually putting it back together with the real intent. Now you can use it. Once you understand how this spell works, everything you say, for me, it's I have... In my universe, because I understand this where I do, I simply make it this way. Everything that I say is for the positive betterment of all. Without trespass on free will choice, to step on an experience where the golden rule must and always will be engaged. Infinite pledged. I just want to do a quick shout out here before we roll over. You can call in at 661-467-2401. And, of course, you can Skype in from the Blog Talk page you're listening on. Excuse me. And all you have to do is refresh the page. If it's not there, click on the Skype button. It will lead you to the board. If you haven't got a Blog Talk or a Facebook or whatever, you're going to have to get one of those accounts, or the Skype button won't work if it shows up at all. And then once you're on the board, all you have to do is hit 1 on the keypad. on your phone and open up the dial pad on Skype by hitting the plus sign, which opens up a menu that says Show Dial Pad. Click on that, and then click on one on the dial pad. That lets me know that you want in the call. And a great big thank you to Paul Giovanni and the crew at criticalmassradio.co.uk. Guys, without you, this cutting edge of consciousness, the very tip of the spear, would not be in existence. And we do this together, and those of you that have helped out and chipped in, thank you. Paul could use a little help right now. Got everything sorted out and set up where he's back on his feet, and we're at that point of wanting to push forward again. And whatever you can do is great. Keep the intent high. That's where I am with this, and it's all good. Something else I wanted to share, and I'm really terrible at this, so I'm going to share it this way. Well, because the jingle was made, and I want to use it. So here's the right one this time. But I wanted to show the contrast with the old one. Someone's typing.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
Someone just called somebody too.
Their walls are falling. The momentum is now with us. It's our time now. At the most pivotal point in history is Critical Mass Radio, 24/7 Truth Radio. Help us to help you. Please go to www.criticalmassradio.co.uk and subscribe £1, £2 or £3 a month. The critical mass has been reached. We must come together. We must stand together. For ourselves, for each other, for our future generations. criticalmassradio.co.uk. Now, it's our turn.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Mark, I'm gonna pull you in here, bud. So I was trying to do. I didn't realize he was on the board. I had his mic open, and I just saw a text from him, so I'm gonna bring Mark in. There we go. Try that.
Okay.
Is that better?
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know what happened there.
You were on the board. I didn't realize you were on the board. So it's okay. As soon as I called you and it put that's that music sound. It makes the. It's all good. So.
Ninja's she's gonna kill me.
Why?
She said, laughing. It's a good sign.
She sent me a message the other day, and it was like, oh dear.
No, it's all good. It's all good. You know. So
she had a chat with Paul G.
Yeah.
Focus on your role, Mark.
I thought your role was a shit disturber, but okay, whatever the case may be, it works for me. So anyway, listen, guys, we're going to roll over in about 13 minutes or so, and I think I'm just going to hand the reins over to Mike and Mark and let you guys battle it out without the mouthy tranny bitch that likes to slap people with fish, you know, for the rollover. No, honestly, guys, and I have no problem with this. And I really,
I think you're doing a great job, Kate. I've missed it. I had to do something earlier, so I've missed it. I've only just come on now, but no, you're doing. This is what we need because, you know, for fuck's sake, like I said to myself, and I said to you, I probably said to Michael, look, you know, if I want to learn this stuff, then I got to do some fucking legwork myself. But I really do appreciate your wealth of knowledge.
I wouldn't even call it knowledge. I just call it fun now. I'm in the playground playing, and I want to show you how to be God and change your reality and have it confirmed every instant of the day whenever you feel like, oh, look, I'm on the right track. Of course you are. You've never been on the wrong track. You just had the illusion that you were. You know, so I just decided to let go of the steering wheel and sit in the back of the limo and let Paul Giamatti do the driving. You know, I'll just simply sit back and be the missus. Where are you going today, Mrs.? Well, take me home, James. I'm good. It's awesome.
Yeah, I personally really do like the idea of creating my reality.
That's all you have to do. You just have to redefine your reality. Instead of buying it as is, not is, but as is from someone else's perspective. If you're using a dictionary and using a literal definition, then you are owned lock, stock, and barrel by that spell. There is both intentions are contained within the word, equal and opposite. That's why if I was to sit on a judge's bench and a free man on the land, fucking idiot would come in, I'd have them owned in the first word. Because they don't know who they are. As soon as they set foot in the courtroom, I'd have them arrested and taken away and given some solitary to think about it. Because if you're in a courtroom, you don't know who you are. And just another little note to the wise for people, don't ask me for legal help. I don't deal in fictions. I deal in the real deal, me. And everything you need, I'm doing my best to keep that up to date and new and more clues for you defining your reality. I'm not defining your reality for you. I'm trying to show you how to define your own. I've got mine. If you want to be at effect and be the pupa, the puppet, you can pronounce pupa, P-U-P-P-E-T, pupae, pupa. And what is a pupa? That's a caterpillar still stuck in the cocoon, the cocoa of creation mind. That's the quad. Co2. There's your master number, your 22. There's your quad right in the cocoon. This butterfly just cracked the motherfucker open and it's got her wings just a-flapping. That's what I'm trying to show you, how to get out of the cocoon. And only you can do it. I can't. It's like in the movie Jack the Giant Slayer. Jack could only hand the guy the knife when he was put inside the pastry. He didn't have time to cut him out and rescue him. But it wasn't up to him. He had to save himself, so he did. He gave him the knife. He gave him the tool to escape himself from the pastry of the pig in a blanket. I see humanity as pigs in a blanket, and I'm handing you the knife to cut yourself out of the pastry, or you're going to get fucking cooked. And I'm going to love you either way. Well done or raw. It's that simple. It's all in the sounds. It just depends on what you're hearing and how you're bringing it to yourself. Hearing. When I say hearing, I mean to bring it home. H-E-R-E. The he-re. And he, of course, is feminine. So is him. Everything here is feminine. The root note, fa, of consciousness. In the magnetic, the M, the as above. In, 9, in consciousness, which is self within self, within self, within self, within self. Infinitely out and infinitely in, infinitely large to infinitely small. And the only thing we have is a perspective, much like the ant has a different perspective when looking at an elephant or looking at a butterfly. The ant cannot fathom what an elephant is. It has no idea. When it's climbing up its leg, it's thinking this is just a tree that's moving around, gray, and it's kind of cool, and it's warm. This is really neat. Then it gets up to the top, and then it realizes that what is this? And the only thing it's interested in is collecting food. And it works in a hive mind because it has a queen bee as well, a queen state of being. That's where the allegory of the queen comes into play. The Q, the ovum that is inseminated. If you worship the false queen, then you're fucked. If you become the true queen, then you are the creation. You are the mother of creation. Mother, very easy word. I'm going to show you how mother and father are the same thing. You ready? They're identical. And I can prove it in phonics. Mother, M-O, modus operandi of love in the trinity of self through consciousness and spirit breath. Father, Fa, the root note of creation of the heart in love, T, in the divine feminine through consciousness of spirit breath. Go ahead, fucking tell me the difference. Because there isn't one. So what is male, what is female? That's your illusion. You're all one. You're both energies. And the real trick here is everything is divine feminine out of the void. There is but one. There is not magnetic electric. There's only magnetic. The intention that comes out of it is that which we create. We have this beautiful ability of being the mother and the son at the same time. We just have to get the black heart. If you know where the white heart is, that's the deer you chase. The black heart, that's what's contained within, the chem heart. That's the all-chem me, to create the an atom me. Now, you can look at an atom two different ways here as well. It's either something of creation or something that you get buried in, a tomb. It just depends on how you pronoun say it. So remember, everything you say with ignorance of the true law of truth, love, is going to work against you. And here's the nice thing about the language and why it balances out anyway, where we haven't destroyed ourselves, is because there are words with positive intention contained within them. And that intent is shown in as much as there are negative words. So that was a balancing in a fractal sense right there. What I'm doing is taking it out of that balance and into a higher frequency of balance. Free, Q, and psi. Free, the queen, the Q with the insemination. And the place, your role in the movie, take your Q. Free, Q, N, that's mine. Psi, spirit. In C, unconditional love. You will start seeing things, at least as I've seen them, where everything circles back on itself. And it's all about God. It's all about you. And for anyone that doesn't believe that I know you're the most beautiful essence in the universe, the essence, the divine feminine mind in the universe, you haven't heard a word I've said. And for those that still have this urge to judge and condemn and everything else, good, I'm glad. Because what you're showing me is the contrast of what I would never want to be again. And where I was and where I am and where I'm going. That's all that matters to me. I have my roadmap, and thank you for being part of it. As I create my reality, that we co-create our reality together on our terms, where we all remain completely.
Looks like Kate might have dropped. Nope, she's here.
Hello?
Okay.
Are they there?
Yep, I just don't know what just happened to Kate, but it's Mike. Something I was going to add to that, and what's the beauty of it is we come to 0 point ourselves, as we come back to the core, the essence of our heart, of love. As Kate's explained in the phonics, with the words, with the sounds, it's the same thing. That she showed the polarity of the words, that one word could mean it's equal and opposite, just like we can when we're in that polarity state. And then it also shows that when we can look at the words and break it down, it's all can come back to, in a way, to mean God. Like all of our names, you can break it down and how it comes back on itself, and you can see it means God, or again it comes back on itself to neutral, the words itself, because we're coming back to that now power of intent to create with that purity of, well, call it purity, but balance, neutrality, where now powered by love, because we were so, let's call it unconditioned and conditioned to move in fear. And now that's ending, we are remembering how to, in a way, fuel our worlds with love again. And we're seeing it and reflect it through, we could call it different avenues. But the main one was sound. And beautiful. It's again a reflection. Yeah.
I made it back, and just under the wire there, my Skype got knocked there, so I'm not sure how stable it is. But anyway, we're just about to roll over, so I am going to very cordially hand the reins over and vacati myself so I can get a little crayon work done. I like my crayons. I print pretty pictures.
All right, so we got about 2 minutes to the rollover, guys. If you want to call in still, please do. What's that number? 661-467-2401. Again, thank you guys and girls, all of us, for tuning in, chiming in, sharing your heart. And that's what we're doing. This is the connection. We're like, how are we connected? Well, there's a natural one running through everyone. And we're getting reminders of that in so many different ways now when we look at things, because we don't have the old way of thinking about things. We don't have those old thought forms or stories attached to whatever we're looking at. And that's a beautiful thing.
Indeed it is. Mike, I'm just going to say goodnight to everybody. And, oh, look, I have room for 2 people on Facebook. Yay! Anyway, I just want to say thanks to everybody and give you guys a table. And seriously, just play around with this. Why don't you guys just play with some words? I mean, I've shared enough of these little clues. Pick a handful of words and just play with them. Try the word deception and have some fun. Of God shun? Oh, isn't that true? Decept shun. Or of God Io mine. Neutralized. So there you go. And that's how you do it. It's really simple. So I'll leave you guys at it. Much love, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow night. Same time, same place, and have fun playing.
All righty, Kate. Good night.
Love you.
Good night.
I'll leave it running on this end, Mike. I've got the board, obviously, so I'll just mute out and go grab my crayons and color. Okay?
All right. Okay, all the mics are open.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Feel free to jump in. And then I can talk. All right. Where did I want to go with this today? There was quite a few things. And for sure, Kate, in the many ways, keeps bringing it home. That's what we're talking about. Really coming home in the different ways each of us are doing this. So again, mics are open. Please mute out in your end. And who do we got?
Brandon's here.
Yep, 617, Brandon. Hey, how's it going?
All right, Mike. How are you doing?
Yeah, excellent.
I think the idea of maybe tossing out a word or two and kind of analyzing it might be okay, but, we can take this wherever you want, brother.
Well, one word that I was going to ask, because it seems to bother me, and I think it's annoying to many people, and I'm going to bring it right to the literal. What in our lives, if we're sitting in nature, that if we're sitting in stillness, might come and disturb that stillness?
Noise.
What noise? Right. Yeah, and it's a particular noise, and it's pointy.
Ooh.
So, mosquitoes.
Oh, okay.
I've been in some real deep trance and have been bothered by mosquitoes. I'm like, what is this relation, this high-pitched sound with me keeping my core in a way, my balance without losing it? And I'm just curious if anyone else has had this.
I've been there. I'm not going to analyze the word before I analyze the word. I think it is the mosquito is definitely in India. They're like Sri Ramana Maharshi and people like that are kind of renowned for letting mosquitoes just kind of just live on them and bite them, and you know what I mean. Yeah, there is a point to like you're in total this sort of self-awareness paradise or whatever, and then but there's a mosquito there, so you pay attention to the physical and come back and just say shoo fly shoo, you know, or you know, I know what you're saying. And some of the most profound. And what is it with the buzzing thing too? Because like there is that pitch that goes. And it's just like there's something about that buzzing of the
it's going right into your ear. And is it inside your head or outside your head?
That's right, ear wicker almost. It's a Humpty Chimpton ear wicker. It's like in James Joyce. Yeah, it's that kind of thing that makes that noise, and it's a vibration that we're tapping into. I think it just allows us to tap into that vibration. But so yeah, I've been there, man. It's pretty fascinating.
So this little insect that, in another way, is this transmitter, usually of disease. I used to say, well, what is this? Why do we have mosquitoes? Okay, it does transmit death to a lot of people. I'm not being polarized here, calling it bad or good, but it does do that. More so than most other insects or animals that I know of. And so it's this multifaceted thing, this little thing called mosquito. So I thought, okay, I had them bothering me here. And many times it's like if a mosquito comes, it's like, okay, it's a transmitter. It's giving me a sound, and what's nature reminding me through this mosquito that normally you'd lose your cool and get annoyed. So sometimes it's just get up and move. Go stand over there. And I laugh. And then I see the stars or a moon and another planet twinkling at me. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. And other times I'm smacking them. And so I'm like this. So then I thought, okay, mosquito, let's break this word down. And I was going to ask Kate. And then I thought, no, I should write it down and do it myself. So modus operandi. So again, in many ways, I've had quite a few friends through the years had their own language. Like you is universal. I was looking for it earlier. They have which each letter and each sound meant to them, and how they expressed it with writing, really beautiful, and which really assisted me in connecting with Kate's, or all of ours.
Tolkien too. J.R. Tolkien created his own languages, created like 13 of them, you know, so you know, we all do this, I think, to some degree, and then it's kind of mushed out of us and then brought back. So you got the fall and redemption of the word in all of us. Sorry.
Hey, Mike.
So in one way, I like this. So you could say modus operandi S. I forget what S is, but again, it's for you. It's what resonates with you inside this, and Kate gives us a lot of assistance in what it resonates with her, and a lot of it is pretty clear. So, but then you could look at it. It's got the word quit in it, and that's what sometimes I think. Quit, yeah, mosquito, quit it. And then in another way, I'm like, well, that's my judgment call on some things. And why am I looking at this? In some ways, we think is innocuous or inane bug that I'm going so deep on, in a way. And I'm like, because in one way, you let nature take its course, or you're gonna fight this and smack the mosquitoes, or realize I live in a swamp, there's mosquitoes, or I built my house in the nature, there's ants. Instead of fighting this, you find this kind of what's the balance here, and this is again with ourselves. This is what it's coming back to. And again, environment's a huge teacher.
Mikey, they say, from William Blake, thinking of that, can find infinity in a grain of sand, or a fool who persists in their folly will become wise. Alan Watts is very famous of quoting. If you have the little tiniest thing, it can bring you to these amazing things. I like how you separated with the mo and the modus operandi and the S there. Obviously, I think representing is us. Yes, the serpentine, the kundalini, whatever you want to break it down to. I would break it down into mos, M-O-S, where I see pop in like mosque and lots of different other words. But yeah, keep going, man. I like it.
And then we got the O on the end, which,
here you go.
If I look at it in some ways, I see the hole, the portal, like the sun. In other ways, there's another meaning I know, or reference to this O.
Oh, yeah.
And again, that's the beauty of this, is that even a sound like O, it could be open or closed. You could be looking at that circle as open, you can go through it, like the sun. Or you think it's the sun in the sky, it's a circle, but it's colored in orange, or whatever color, white or yellow. It's not something you go through, you get burned up. So you see what I'm saying? The circle is full. It's like a period instead of a portal. And I like how mosquito brought me to the sun, brought me to the core again.
DOT, also not filled in, like you said, but if you go to, like Prometheus did, too close to the fire and, might fall down, or is it Daedalus?
Yeah, I just remember it because Iron Maiden sang about it.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, Mark.
Did you break down Moss?
Break it down some more. What else we got? I know there's most. It's like. I mean,
Moss, it's just. I'm just thinking of another one where you could spell it Moskito.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you put the line between the Moss, M-O-S, the K-I-T, and you're left with the O at the end.
Brilliant. I like that.
Yeah.
That's sort of where I was going in a way. Yeah.
Changing even the spelling, like, exactly, wait.
But it still sounds the same, doesn't
spelling, it? But right, again, it shows another dimension. It shows another depth of, really, our creation.
And then if we remove all the vowels from it, that might tell another story. Because, language, written word didn't have vowels for some time, supposedly.
Well, the Hebrew language, they say, is written without vowels.
Yeah, the old one.
Yeah.
Vowels introduced till 5th century or something like that, whatever it was. But yeah, so what I do too is take away the vowels, subtract the zeros, if you will, right? And then break it down from there, and you get M-S, Ms. And I don't know, Kate, KT.
Well, yeah, you got KT, Spirit of Love, right there. You missed the Spirit of Love. You know what it just reminded me of? It's so say we have the divine feminine, as we were mentioning earlier on the show, the divine feminine, and then we have the what some people lovingly refer to as the whore of Babylon, masquerading as the divine feminine. And I just got the image of the whore of Babylon being a mosquito this little gnat bugging me. Sometimes intensely, sometimes just shoo it away, like you were saying. And that's what it breaks it down to. In many levels, are you going to let something bother you? Take your goat? You're going to let that mosquito get your goat? Boy, have a lot of us done that. A lot of empowered mosquitoes buzzing around trying to give you back your goat.
Fucking mosquito. Where's the swatter?
So all the mics are open. Anybody else would like to join in? We just did mosquito. Thank you.
This is the beauty, though, guys. It's you start creating your own reality. I know, it's.
Well, you start putting. Yeah, you start.
Yeah, it's the end of the mind control.
Yeah, you're out of it and you're owning yours because you're actually playing with it. You're playing with your words now. You're recognizing their intent. You're seeing the ones that you are using or listening to. Yeah, so it's in this. Wow. Yeah, that. We keep coming home, and it's like that. I want to come just say it kind of like coming back to that moment of creation, and I don't mean the Big Bang. I mean, we come home and really get creative again with our pure intent, with no more distortion or mind control clogging up the picture. And the more you recognize this in really the mirror first, I was going to say nature, but actually in the mirror, or with your eyes closed or your eyes open, wherever you may be, and having that feeling for yourself, and again recognizing in the nature whatever little thing or big thing you might be able to smile with, and have this remembrance. Wow, it really shows us that this is where we're at. And there's a lot of, yeah.
That's what Chaucer was trying to do, or Chaucer. I think it was Jason who had made a point earlier about seeing things as a whole, as an image. And that's kind of what Chaucer was trying to, Chaucer, whatever, choose how you want to pronounce it phonetically. It's kind of the Dante of England. He was trying to bring back that sort of thing. And, I can read once you can read his English, Middle English, it's just like, it's so easy. It just rolls off and it comes to you. I can read it so fast now. It just comes to you like an infection because it's so pure and intent. It's amazing. I recommend everybody study Chaucer for sure. And he kind of lays it out in a rhythmic or musical way as well. So it's very sort of easy for the bard to rhyme, and there's a lot of puns and on double entendres and triple entendres. And it's very beautiful, magical language that Chaucer was trying to do. So, and it's interesting that he's in A Knight's Tale because there's some.
Okay, so let me open up the latest little thing. It's already posted on caveofgaia.wordpress.com. And the essay is called Silence of the Lambs. The W is silent, but it's the law. Right, Silence of the Law-mbs. Yeah, that's what it means to be the Lamb of God, the law. Me, magnetic electric, the law of the magnetic electric. It's not something that you want to cut apart and make, fresh spring New Zealand lamb. Yeah, that's yummy. I'm here to destroy every meat-producing company on the planet because they're killing consciousness. More importantly, guys, you want to know what got messed with the genomes? You're doing it to yourself, right? Let's take a few humans and add take away a couple of genetic codes and create cattle, pigs, and what else? And sheep with it. Because they're the closest thing that you're going to find to the human genome. They're the closest in relation. The pig is actually the closest. It even has pink skin. Gross. You can take a pig's heart and put it in a man's chest. They've done it. The guy lived for a couple of weeks before they found a human recipient. They make insulin with it because it genetically is matched to the human. And you eat that shit? Fucking cannibal. Anyway, knock yourself out with your, pork. Po-ra-ka. Yeah, the spirit seed of the spirit breath of your spirit. You really want to consume that? Not me. Anyway, silencing of the lambs. Code is broken. If every letter can be silent in one word, therefore it can and must be silenced in all words, as one sees fit, or phi-t, the creation of love, which is the Law-v or law, L-A-H, which becomes the note of love, the K-N-O-W-T-E of love. Pronounces the same way. I'm going to explain to you as well in this essay just how, it's not very long, just how important pro, now, and say is. That's how you create. So I'll go through the alphabet really quickly here. I did this already, but I'll do it again, where every letter is silent. A is silent in each, earth, and ear, many others. So I'm just giving, you only need one example to prove your point, okay? B is silent in bomb and lamb. C is silent in where K, S, C, H, F, and PH are corresponding letters creating the same sounds or silence. D is silent in bridge. E is silent in bride. F is silent in where G and H are silent. Laughter. G is silent in laughter. H is silent in laughter. I is silent in void or void, V-O-W-E-D. Tricky little things, eh? J is silent in that it mimics G and is an H in Jorge. K is silent in no or no without the K. You might call it now. Or new without the K, which is brand new. L is silent in should or would, W-O-O-D, or W-O-L-D. M is silent in mnemonic, and always silent at the beginning of a word with M-N. As a side note there, I forgot to add, only in the Greek, ancient Greek language is M silent. You might know the name of God at this point. Just letting you know. N is silent in dam, or you can pronounce it dame, entirely up to you. O is silent in kernel. P is silent in phone. Q is silent in all aspects of the K sound, or Q, C-U-E. R is silent in lever, to lift in French. S is silent in island of the sound, but I assure you, nothing I have written here, even close to what I'm saying, knows it. Saying now, is it? Sorry about that. See, I hooked myself on it, but you see how freaking bizarre this is. This is why one must play show and tell with me to fully grasp my intentions. Are you starting to get the picture yet? This is why the letter kills and only the word will set you free. While what I'm saying is clear enough, one cannot begin to explain the gravity nor the significance of this power. This is where dreams come true, or where nightmares exist. When I write anything now, it is written as per my definitions, where the intent is kept secure and all other spells are destroyed, removing the original sin. This is the master key of creation versus creation. I will share a few key phrases that I look for and then build the sentence backwards. There is no place like home. Since the literal world is created with anagogic allegory, it becomes easier to create your reality with this simple understanding that is intricately complicated. The first thing we all have to do is realize that this is a game of can I get your goat, show, and nothing more. All of the emotional strings connected to you are as the strings on Pinocchio, and what was that quest all about? It is about the journey of a puppet or pupa, depending on how you pronounce it. But once you start resounding a word, you begin to see what a resounding success really is. Remember, this is about listening, not reading, since any words on a page are dead, and only your agreeing to speak them as is creates the life within them as per someone else's definitions. It is time for us to redefine our realities according to making God in our own image, after our own likeness, as was so clearly stated but mirrored by organized religions. Here are a couple of key things I listen for. All these prefixes and suffixes mean mind, as per the ancient mystical ways. Ship, mind, M-I-N-E-D. Hood, meant, M-E-A-N-T. Ent, ents, ants, and every instance they appear in sound, regardless of spelling. It is the sound that creates, not the words, and why one must begin to hear things as only sounds and not words, or you get spun back in where I'm trying to spin you out. Anytime I see or say the spellings, hearings of say, S-A-Y, say, S-E, apostrophe, C-E, apostrophe, I use the Latin form of himself, herself, itself, or simply creation. As already shown, every letter can be silenced where you say or see fit, phi-t. This is the 180-degree turn spell of fight, F-I-G-H-T, into phi-t, sacred creation of love. The letters E and A are used as their corresponding sigils of 6 and 9 in the mirror, the yin and the yang. The word or sound of love is the law of truth. When you know how to pronounce it, where L-O can be sounded as law, as in to lob a holy hand grenade at the crucified rabbi, well, it's rabbi with a silent T, where T can be the note of love or the cross of crucifixion, thus the true double cross. The letters V-E is truth from verily, as shown in the open arms of V into 9 consciousness. The spelling of 9 says it all. N is a letter to show infinite, or nth, and is used as a conjunction, meaning it's mine, so 9 means my I, my creation. T-ion. I'm going to keep this one short because you have a little playing to do for yourself to unlock your own spellbinding, where I can only show you clue, aisle, or debris. T is silent in debut, ballet, and, oh, look at that, castle. Funny how that works. U is silent in blood. V is silent in of, O-F. W is silent in D-O-U-B-L-E, Y-O-U, double U, and no. You don't need the W there. It's silent. The O does the work. X is silent in faux pas. Yeah, we've made 1 or 2 of those. Y is silent in say. Totally unnecessary. S-A will do the trick with a hard A and a hard S. Say. Z is silent in rendezvous. Inasmuch as every letter can be silenced, therefore, so will the intent be silenced. We have long assumed and presumed the sounds of our words by another's definition, and the habits deeply ingrained in us as children. There are no grammatical notes regarding the pronunciation of any letters where we assume what is written versus knowing what is written, and our intent is owned by someone else's intent. For me, all definitions must be made clear where no assumption or presumption is tolerated. As a measure of how much programming we are involved in, simply lift a piece of paper with writing on it and see if you can hear the words. So what is the paper really saying? Nothing. It is we who give life to someone else's spell by agreeing that sigils can actually talk. Sheer insanity, and easy to see how we can be steered and heard dead where our KTL, cattle, is used against us, and it's our own doing. There are no enemies here. You are the NME, the magnetic electric mind, who creates your reality. It's as simple as holding any document up to your ear and really hear what is being said, and just who gives life to the spells after all. You are, you are spellbound. Just to give you an example, I left a typo in there, and anyone that's reading this say, "Oh, Kate, you put a P in you, Y-O-P-U." So, did you not just hear what I said, that all letters are silenced? Silence the fucking P. You'll get it. Tricky bitch, eh? Yeah, go ahead, let's play. I'll play and show you all the tricks that you are being held by. So carrying on here. You are spellbound to the degree that you accept and only accept the literal definitions created with the intents of another as their spell. Remember, spiritual contracts are made and sealed in the mind first. Then the physical effect is displayed. In this regard, one is also a psychopath to how polarized one is in seeing only good or evil versus the singularity of them both existing at the same time, where only your perspective changes the interpretation. If you accept a word as only a positive or a negative, then you are a psychopath to that degree. So keep that in mind anytime you call someone or anyone a psychopath, because that will be your contrast and the mirror or the mirror. Only the most polarized fill jobs in government offices, uniforms, and the like, because they are following and obeying things that harm not only others but themselves. These are the 5-year-old mental retards I refer to walking around the playground with flamethrowers and Uzis going off, and they think that's a good thing. Psychopaths of the lowest order. When you understand that you can change the very intent of a word using sound, you'll begin to see your spellbinding, and thus your freedom from it. Let me share a few words written solely based on sound, and toss the spellings to the wind. What you will hear is far from what is spelled, and the literal gibberish I see any single language as being, versus the God tongue we all can speak, and thus change the intent in the very creation of the world or spiral around you. Literally. Take, for example, what you were hearing now. Does it sound any different than what I was just saying before? You likely haven't heard anything remotely contrasting in the form.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn. Chemtrails, child, animal, and planet abuse.
See, that's the old paradigm. I love it. Anyway, welcome to Outside the Box. Or we're going to probably rename this, Welcome to Can I Get Your Goat Show? And if I can get your goat, I own your God. And might as well let it be known that the Phoenician code is cracked. Cool, huh? You have no idea yet, but you will. I wrote a little something earlier, and I had talked a little bit about it. I had revamped it a little bit, and of course added to it as well. So, and don't forget, this is the M&M show tonight. I will let Mike and Mark take the helm. I just wanted to get this out first, so I'm going to get Mark's mic opened and Mike's Mark opened. Might as well do it both ways. Right? Anyway, the Phoenician code is cracked, and to a level I can't even begin to describe. It is so absolutely magical. No words, because there's none needed. And when you understand this, when you finally understand this, you will have your intent, your true in the creational void of the goddess Io, the ancient of most ancient, with love. That's what intent is. And you will never get there if you are polarized. That is a promise. You will not get there if you are under the influence of first the spells, because it's the words that cast the spells that create the effect. That is the key. If the words do not affect you, when you understand that every word is perfectly balanced in zero with intent, it is how you define or have been made to define the words from a polarized perspective that has your mind owned. That's the mirror of the New World Order. The New World Order is absolutely beautiful, and it's one that I am creating. The already known, the new world, the spiral, W-H-I-R-L-E-D, or of God. And that is the golden spirit breath of creation. That is the oar of the boat that you are rowing, because all roads lead to Rome, or the spirit breath of me, Rho magnetic electric. And this works to such a level, if you cannot see the magic in it, if you cannot see it, then you are blinded by your intellect. And that is the problem with intellectual people. The ones that don't have it under control. The ones that, well, it's like this. Look at common law. Well, that's the stuff that, I watched that video yesterday, and it was really interesting to watch how this was a guy getting interviewed for cannabis possession, right? It was interesting listening to the robot that was trying to turn his words around. Cop, no less, female. Quite the program running in her, I tell you. It was really funny to watch. And here's the thing. I could sit on a bench and destroy you in the first word out of your face, or create you in my image. And that's what the courts do. And the longer you play, well, you're going to keep testing yourself until you get it. But look at the word common law. Well, you've already heard me talk about it with my law. That's the note, law, just, to get to T. You can't get to T until you understand the law. And better yet, until you overstand the law. O, creation, ver, truth, stand. And there's that stan again. That's the escape clause, clausula rebus sic stantibus. And that's the love of the Christ consciousness with intent into the divine feminine, ibus. And this is not, it may sound very confusing, it may sound very difficult, but it's not. All you need is a piece of paper, some crayons or a pencil or whatever you think you need to simply sit on your fucking ass for 5 fucking minutes and grab a word and start looking at it with new vampire eyes. Let's go to the mother fire. Va, to go. M, magnetic mother. Pyre, fire. Pyro, into consciousness of the divine feminine. Every letter is a word, and contained with that word are many letters, that every letter in that word contains many letters. It gets fractal very quickly. It goes exponential in the blink and the twinkling of an eye. The yes, the A-Y-E, or the E-Y-E, or the letter I itself. It just depends on what you heard, cattle, or heard, K-T-L, the spirit of love with intent. So you can be part of the cattle herd or the K-T-L herd, as in the one that's being listened to. I chose the latter. Let's have a look at common law again, just to take it even further. Well, pronounce it, com, O, and O-N, with a silent E on it, makes it one. So the calm one law. And you're certainly not going to get there if you're, fighting. F-I-G-H-T-I-N-G versus phi-T-ing, which is P-H-I, sacred geometric creation, T, the note of love into consciousness. ing, the act of, the yin and the yang, which is perfect balance, folding in upon itself and folding out above itself at the same time. I see the creational swirl. It's beautiful. It's a singularity. And you won't get there if you're going to be spellbound. So here, what I'm going to do tonight is I got a list of words. I talked to Mark after the show today, and I put together a list of words, and I'm going to get you to see and hear, more importantly, hear them entirely different. You're going to hear and see things with brand new Law-mbs eyes. Or not. I don't give a fuck either way, because my reality is my reality, and there's fuck all anybody can do to change it. Now. Period. Done. Over. Phoenician code is cracked. And the only thing that's going to happen now is I'm just going to keep getting better at it. Because it's like a child learning a language. I don't care whatever language you grew up with. The first sounds you heard were nonsense. It says blah, 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 blah. You know, think of Charlie Brown and the teacher. Wah, 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 wah. And only when things were identified to you with a certain sound did you start correlating that sound with that shape. Like the French would see a chair as chaise and see a chair. The English will see a chair as a chair. They're both the same thing with two different sounds. So what is really being created here? Well, that's the whole point about things being an allegory here. Because the mere fact that two different words exist for the same object proves that. Two different sounds creating the same thing. So when you put them together, you start to see the magic of how things are back or backwards.